Welcome to another video. So for today's video, we're going to be looking at a budget list for Mermail Atlanteans. This is what I feel is probably the strongest budget list you could play with using the least number of UR and SR wildcards. So I'm going to pan through the full deck list at the end of the video with all the cards full screen, so you can take a look at that. Go to the end of the video to check that out. So what's the goal of this deck? The goal of this deck is to consistently do the Hulk of Fibrax Auroradon combo while also taking a look at your opponent's hand before you do so to rip out any Ash Blossoms or impermanences or effect failures they could have to stop your combo from going off. And all of this is done with N and R rarity cards, so you don't have to have an expensive package like the Called by the Graves in order to get this to work. So I'm gonna show you some of the combos to get started, and then I'll show you some gameplay on the ladder. And then after that, I'll show you the best pathway to upgrade this deck. So if you want to play this deck and you like it, you like the budget version, what cards you should add to the deck, to make it stronger and kind of play the most top tier version of it that you can. Alright, so without any further delay, let's start showing you the combos. Okay, perfect. Alright, so we have two ways of doing the combo here. We have a way with Sangan, or we have Deep Sea Diva. Now, Deep Sea Diva is the best way to do the combo, so that's what I'm going to show first. So here's the combo you're going to be wanting to do, and all these combos are, they're going to have the same point, and I'm going to show you where it is, and you're going to do it the same way. So we get Deep Sea Diva out. Deep Sea Diva going to summon Prince. Getting Deep Sea Diva is the best way to get this combo started, so we're going to activate Prince. Prince is going to send Dragoons. Prince is going to add Dragoons to hand. Dragoons in graveyard is going to activate, and we're going to search here for a copy of Deep Sea Minstrel. If you have one in hand, you don't need to search another Minstrel. Let's activate the Minstrel, discard the Dragoons so we add it to hand. And now we get to take a look at our opponent's hand. So if our opponent let our Deep Sea Diva resolve, maybe they have an Imperm, or they held an Ash Blossom because they're waiting for us to make a Hulk of Fibrax. At that point, you take that away from them. If they don't have any of those things, you just take their worst card, because we're gonna make them discard too. So you take whatever we want them to keep. Alright, and now our Dragoons is gonna activate, it's gonna search. And now we're gonna search for our Moulin Glacia, and you gotta hold on to Moulin Glacia. You don't use them till the end. Alright, so now we do our Hulk of Fibrax, and this is where the combo is going to be the same for all of these different starters that we have here. You're always going to make Hulk of Fibrax, and you're going to get Despot. So get that Despot out. So from here on, this is going to be the same in all these combos. So I'll fast forward it for the other combo section of this video. So pay attention here. This is how you do it. Make Auroradon. Auroradon effect activate. You make your tokens. Placement does not matter. Once we got our tokens, our Despot is going to summon itself from the graveyard. Placement doesn't matter. And now, from here, we special summon the Cupid Pitch using the Despot and one of our tokens. Cupid Pitch is going to activate, and it's going to ask us to increase or decrease the level by 2. You choose increase. Increase the level by 1, sorry, because it's the level of the tuner you used. And now we activate Mecha Phantom Beast, and you choose effect 2, special summon from the deck, and you have to use 2 tokens here. You got to use your tokens so your field is fully clear. So this is going to activate, give us 2 tokens. Despot is going to summon itself again. Special summon here. And now, the order does matter. Make the Borreload Savage Dragon. You have to do this first. Use the Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch is going to activate, Borreload's going to activate. Cupid Pitch activating, Borreload going to activate. Borreload, you're going to equip your Hulk of Fibrax here. And Cupid Pitch, you're going to search. And the card you're going to search for is the Creation Resonator. Creation Resonator can summon itself. So I'll do that here. And now, you make Baron de Fleur. There we go. Now, if you don't have Baron de Fleur, but you have the Che-Ying, level 10 Synchro, you could do that instead of Baron. That's an alternative. Alright, and next step, we're going to make the Herald of the Arclight. using these two last cards here. Alright, and now, don't forget about Moon Glacia. We have exactly 5 water monsters in the graveyard still, because our Hulk of Firebrax got taken out of the graveyard by Borreload Savage Dragon. So we still got exactly 5 in the graveyard if we did this combo properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can summon our Moon Glacia, and now, any cards that are monsters that are sent to the graveyard, let's cancel here, will get banished instead of going to the graveyard because of the effect of Herald of the Arclight. So that is a huge advantage, because a lot of decks have monsters that activate in the graveyard. So by banishing everything, you're in a great position here. Now our opponent has 2 cards, they're going to draw 1 more card, and we got 3 Omni Negates, so we can negate everything that they do, and then we're looking great on the return, because we can just attack for lethal. Alright, so that is the core combo of this deck. That is what you want to do most of the time. Now I'm going to show you some other ways to combo with other starters in the deck, and then after that, I'll show you the fully upgraded version. If you like this combo, if you're liking this video so far, please give the channel a little subscribe, give it a thumbs up, give it a little like, and if you got questions or you got suggestions, leave them down in the comment section. Alright, let's go on to the next combo. Okay, so here's a great example of a hand. We got Genex Undine, that's one of our 12 starting cards. So what we're going to do first is normal summon the Genex Undine. And all of our combos will, the goal of all of our combos is to get a tuner and a non-tuner onto the field. So we're going to send Atlantean Dragoons, and that's going to add Genex Controller, and the Dragoons is going to search. We need to get a tuner on the field, so what we're going to do is get the Lapis Dragon. When it's added to hand, Lapis Dragon is going to summon itself. There you go. Now from here, you go into the combo. So I've shown the combo already, but basically you make Hulk Firebrax. I'll do it real quick for you. But it's the same as the combo in the other video. Now, the one issue with the Genex combo is if you draw your controller in hand, you cannot use Genex. Its effect to activate, to send won't activate. And the other thing to note is that if your opponent decides to Ash Blossom the Genex Undine, the Genex Undine sending the controller to hand is the effect will get negated, so you'll still get to send your Dragoons as cost, which means you'll still get to summon the Lapis Dragon. So if opponents don't know what this card does, often they'll Ash it, and you'll be happy because you know you get free value. All right, so let's get going. All right, so here is your end board if you start with a Genex Undine. So we did all of this with just a normal summon of the Genex Undine. And unfortunately with Genex Undine, unless you have a Moon Glacia in hand, you won't be able to activate it, make your opponent discard 2. But that's okay, you still get a pretty solid end board, and you have 4 other cards in hand, plus a Genex Controller to do with as you will. Obviously we got an Imperm here, and a Raigeki, a Monster Reborn, so we could have done extensions, or if we were going second, we could have broke their board. So not bad, not bad. Alright, well, let's go on to the next combo. Alright, so the next combo we're going to do, since I showed Deep Sea Diva already, is we're going to do the Sangan combo. Now, Sangan combo is not as good. If you have Deep Sea Diva and Sangan, you're going to want to do the Diva one instead. Because Diva one lets you rip out a card from your opponent's hand. And it also lets you get the Moon Glacia to make him discard 2. So Sangan combo is not necessarily as strong. But what you do is you normal summon Sangan. Sangan link off into All Mirage. Sangan's effect is going to activate in the graveyard. You're going to add to your hand, scroll down here, a Crusadia Arborea. Crusadia going to summon itself. And we're going to special summon the Hulk Firebrax. So there you go. That's Hulk Firebrax. And now it's the same combo as before, except we don't have Moon Glacia. So you get your Despot, and so on. And you'll have a pretty solid end board with 3 Omni Negates going on, and then you still have 4 other cards in hand. So you're looking pretty sweet for follow-up turns. Alright, let's go on to the next combo. Alright, so sometimes you're going to have Deep Sea Minstrel in hand and or Dragoons. So what you're going to want to do in this case is activate your Deep Sea Minstrel, ditch your Dragoons, and then you can just search for your Deep Sea Diva. And the combo's pretty similar, so I will show it. But you take your opponent's best card, get rid of their Ash Blossoms, so they can't interact with you. Search for the Deep Sea Diva here. Normal summon the Deep Sea Diva. Diva gonna activate. Gonna send the Prince to the field. Now you activate your Prince. Send Dragoons. add dragoons. And we already activated our minstrel, so we're going to search for our Glacia now. And just keep in mind, you will be able to summon your Glacia here, but if you do that, you will not be able to fully combo. So once we have our Hulk of Firebrax on field, you will be able to use Glacia here, I'll show you. If you summon Glacia now, you will not be able to fully combo because your board will be clogged. Now there is a way to get around this, and you just have to play a level 9 machine synchro, which there is only one of, and it's an SR. So you don't need to play that card to get this deck to work, but if you want to summon your Glacia first and still be able to combo, that is an option. Alright, so from here on, you just do the full combo, and at the end, you summon Glacia to the field, just like last time, and there you go, you're all set. Alright, let's go on to the next combo. Alright, so we got Prince in hand. So Prince is a 1-card starter as well. This budget deck only has one version of the Prince, but you're going to want 3 copies eventually, so it's still worth showing off this part of the combo. So you Prince activate, send dragoons, add dragoons. With the dragoons in graveyard, you're going to search for a Deep Sea Minstrel. You can activate your Deep Sea Minstrel here, discard your dragoons that you added, take a look at your opponent's hand, take away their interaction. Now, this Dragoons is going to activate and search, and you're going to have to search for Lapis Dragon. Lapis Dragon going to summon itself. If you have another way to get a tuner on field, like for example, if you have a Crusadia Arborea in hand, you could link off the Prince into an Almirage, and then instead of searching for Lapis Dragon, you could use the Arborea, and then with the Dragoons, you could search for the Glacia. We already have Glacia in hand, so we don't need to do that line. But just be aware, there are other ways of getting the tuner on field and still letting you Glacia. So Glacia is a bit finicky with his 5 water monsters in graveyard requirement. So you got to think about that, how you're going to get exactly 5. So from here, we're going to Hulk of Firebrax. And now we're at the same point as with the Diva combo. We got Hulk of Firebrax, we got Despot, we do the same combo as before. Wham bam, 3 Omni Negates, make him discard 2. And we got Solemn Judgment, whatever else we have in hand. Alright, so there you go. Let's go on to the next combo. So this is a very cute hand. Now, I wasn't going to show other combo lines, but I just happened to draw this when I was going through the deck. So, because we're running a copy of Surface, we actually have other lines of doing a combo, so I'll show you right here. We're going to activate Deep Sea Minstrel. Unfortunately, we got to discard our Glacia, but that's okay. We get to combo. Look at our opponent's hand, rip a hand trap, maybe an Ash Blossom, an Imperm. And because we have Surface, we can activate Surface. Special summon our Deep Sea Minstrel. That is why we're running Surface in the deck. You might want to run more copies of Surface. And then any monster normal summon lets us make the Hulk of Firebrax. So the combo is very easy to access. And because of that, you're going to be consistently able to do this on turn 1 or turn 2. Alright. You've seen this combo. So let's go on to the upgraded deck list. So this is the budget list, and we are playing in Diamond tier. So this is a very competitive gameplay against our opponents playing, high tier decks with their 3 Max Cs, Ash Blossoms all over the place. Alright, so we got one of our combo starters in hand. That's great. We also have Deep Sea Minstrel, so we can take a look before we do anything. So let's do that first. Ditch and Undine. Take a look at our opponent's hand. Our opponent has an Imperm, exactly what I was talking about. Now we've taken a look at their hand, we rip the Imperm out of their hand, they won't be able to stop us from comboing. So Imperm's gone. In the Banish Zone, we're going to activate our Genex Undine, and Wombo combo time. Activate, search for the Lapis Dragon. Lapis Dragon goes onto the field. And there you go. So we also have, key to point out here, we have our Glacia. So because we had it in hand, we'll be able to make our opponent discard 2 at the end of the combo, and any cards that they have that are monsters, they get discarded, will go get banished instead of going to the graveyard. So I've showed you this combo before, so I'll fast forward for you. Despot summoning itself, make the Cupid Pitch. Cupid Pitch is going to increase level. We're going to search for it, the Mecha Phantom Beast Colt Wing. Get those 2 tokens, get our Despot back on the field. Synchro Summon, make the Borreload. Borreload going to rip our Hulk of Firebrax out of the graveyard. Gonna search here. Now, we already had the Creation Resonator in hand. So, fun fact, genex undine, 600 defense. Also searchable by Keep a Pitch. Now we're gonna summon our Creation Resonator, make Baronne de Fleur, and make the Herald of the Arclight. Now, make him discard 2. Our opponent discarded a trap and a spell, so they still have a monster in hand, but that's okay. They're down to 3 cards. Let's go back to their turn. Opponent is gonna see what they can do. They're gonna imperm. We're gonna let that go. Not gonna give up our Baronne negate. Opponent linking off into Salamangreat. Balinx. We're gonna let this happen. Gotta save your negates for the opportune time. See opponent discarding a card here, but it gets banished. So this card in your graveyard has an effect, but because it got banished by Herald of the Arclight, that's all good. Now we're gonna use Herald's effect to negate the spell. That'll destroy it, and opponent is done. Showing off the power of budget deck list. Alright, let's go on to the next game. Alright, let's go. Now our opponent's going first. They're setting back row. So we're gonna have to take a look at their hand here. Let's take a look with the Deep Sea Minstrel. Opponent's got Max C. Now, that's pretty annoying. We're not really inclined to play into Max C. It'll give our opponent a bunch of card advantage, so let's take a look at what they got. Opponent's hand is a True King and a Feather Duster, so they actually bricked. Not sure what these 2 set cards are, but probably Floodgates or maybe some interaction pieces. Opponent bricking means we got time to wait. We don't have to play into this Max C. We can be patient. And that's one of the huge advantages of this deck, is that we get to see our opponent's hand. And seeing your opponent's hand, it gives you all the information. You can play perfectly, right? The only way your opponent, you know, they don't know what you got. They're still going to be making misplays, but you know exactly what they have. Alright, so opponent gets that True King back. They got Harpy's Feather Duster, True King. They're going to get 1 extra card here. But they're a long way from being able to do anything with that True King. It needs to discard 2 cards, including a Water Monster. Back to our turn. Now we're not under Max C, so we can summon our Deep Sea Diva. And reason we summon Diva here is because if Diva gets negated, we got the Arborea in hand. So we can link off our Deep Sea Diva into the Almirage and then summon the Arborea if Diva gets negated. So that's something to be aware of. We're going to send our Dragoons, add a Minstrel to hand, take another peek at our opponent, make sure they didn't draw an Ash Blossom or something like that, or a Nibiru. Nibiru, a big villain of this deck. Looks like opponent just drew another True King. They're still a long ways from doing anything. So we get searching here. We're going to try to go for max damage if we can. Get our Hook of Fibrax. Start comboing. Make the Auroradon. Get searching. We're going to leave one of our zones down here unless we want to summon the Arborea. Special summon the Keep a Pitch, increase the level, make the Borreload. Sorry, gotta make that Phantom Beast first, get those tokens. Now we make the Borreload once our Despot's back on the field. Get searching. For the Genex. Gonna make Baronne de Fleur. And go straight to battle because we got lethal. Alright. Not bad, not bad. So that's showing off the power. When you know your opponent's hand, you can play perfectly. You don't have to play in a max C if you don't need to. Alright, let's do one more game here. Alright, so we don't want to draw this Mecha Phantom Beast Coal Wing. If we do draw it, then our combo gets reduced, and basically what you do is when you get Hulk of Fibrax, make the Auroradon. You're left with your Despot and 3 tokens. Because we can't search for the Mecha Phantom Beast, probably the best thing to do is to just use all your tokens to make a Baronne de Fleur. You could make a Cupid Pitch, make a Borreload Savage Dragon, and then that would let you add, where is it, your level 3 Creation Resonator hand, and you could use your last token with the White Aura to make a White Oral Dolphin with the Creation Resonator. That's another possibility if you have this in hand. It's not ideal, but it is an option that you can be aware of. So our opponent passed without doing anything. Let's take a look at their hand here with the Deep Sea Minstrel. Make sure we don't play in anything. Opponent can activate Max C. That's not ideal. But let's take a look at their hand. And opponent Opponent could be playing anything. Opponent has a token collector, which is hate against basically any deck, including this one. If we made our Auroradon, our tokens would have got stolen. Opponent has an Imperm, another Maxi, and an Ash Blossom, so I have no idea what this deck is, but what I do know is opponent has no way to make plays. They have nothing. All they can do is normal summon a Maxi. That's nothing. So what we're just going to do is we're not going to special summon. We're not going to give them any extra cards. We don't want them to draw into anything. So let's just add Abyss Megalo for later. Normal summon our Mecha Fan of Beast and just get hit. Just classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Old school, 1600 monster. That's some powerful monster right there. See what our opponent draws here. We know their whole hand, it's all hand traps. Opponent draws a Pot of Prosperity, which is probably the best thing they could have drawn here. But we're not worried. We're going to let them draw. They are playing Sword Soul. We saw Mo Yi, we saw some Tenyi Spirits. Opponent adding the Ashuna to hand. Opponent going to summon the Ashuna. Opponent summoning their token collector to link off into Verte. Playing Sword Soul with the DPE is not usually recommended. We're going to let them pay the life points. We could have negated first. We're going to let them pay. And we'll negate after they pay the life points. I think life points might matter in this duel. We're doing that classic normal summon beatdown. We know our opponent has another Maxi, an Imperm, and an Ash Blossom. That's the set Imperm. Draw Solemn Judgment. That could be pretty useful. Let's special summon here. Opponent's going to Maxi. They're going to draw a card, but that's okay. We speed up our clock quite a bit. Special summon. Get that Megalo on field. Get attacking. If we'd drawn any monster, we probably would have got lethal over this Solemn, but Solemn is an okay consolation prize. Back to our opponent's turn here. Opponent draws a Pot of Desires. Again, this is like the best thing. This is literal Pot of Greed for this deck. Draw two. Now, we could have negated that, but they do have one mystery card they drew from the Maxi, and we don't want them to wombo combo with that. If it's one of those monsters, they could have banished from the graveyard, done their combo. So we're going to save this. Solemn. There they go, adding the Mo Yi to hand. And he's going to Sword Soul Strategist, discarding the Mo Yi he added to hand, which is pretty suspicious. Probably means he's the only other worm he has in hand there. He's going to banish his Shuna to get a Vishuda on field. And he's making the Sovereign Shaying, and we're going to stop that. Get negating with a Solemn Judgment. Summon is negated. That goes straight to the graveyard. Opponent ending their turn. We gotta have a way to get through this, and we draw it. Genex Undine is a multi-use tool. We can also send, take a look here, the face-up pop heavy. And opponent knows what's happening. We were gonna pop his monster. His set card was not gonna, it was an Imperm, not gonna be able to do anything. So we got lethal. There you go, that's the power of the deck. Beating top tier Sword Soul. They draw too many hand traps, they aren't gonna be able to stop you. We have a higher consistency than them. Alright, now let's show you the upgraded version of the deck. Alright, so here you go. Here is the upgraded version of the deck. We're running 3 Princes. Prince is a great card. Awesome starter. We're obviously throwing in some degeneracy here. We got triple Ash, triple Maxi, or double Maxi in this case. Throwing in some Imperms, throwing in some Call by the Graves. You don't have to use these specific cards. Obviously use whatever hand traps, interaction pieces you got. Also, definitely possible to slot DPE into this deck. You can throw the DPE package into most decks, but just throw these 2 spells in, throw a Celestial, throw a Dasher. In the extra deck, we're taking advantage with the Verte Anaconda. Very easy for us to summon 2 monsters on the field. So when you do that, get 2 monsters, effect monsters on the field, make a Verte, summon your DPE, get popping your opponent's stuff. Other combos, I will show you one additional thing. We got 3 Teus. Now, Teus you don't need to do the budget version of the list. But if you end up having a bunch of Teuses, there is a combo with Teus I'll show you right after I break down this deck list that you can do, and it's pretty sweet because it lets you make a totally awesome to negate your opponent's cards, and you can basically do the same thing where you rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand by searching your Mulan Glacia, whereas he make him discard 2. So that's another line you can do that's pretty sweet. So I'll show you that right after this. And also in the extra deck, throwing in the Underworld Goddess, just a great way to get rid of your opponent's Link monsters. We got a Vermilion Dragon Mech. This allows you to summon the Moulin Glacia with your Hulk of Firebrax and your Despot on field. Then you link off the Moulin Glacia, or you synchro summon it away, into a Vermilion Dragon mech with the Despot, and that makes sure your board is clear. So you can use the Vermilion Dragon mech and the Hulk of Firebrax to make your Rorodon and your field to be clear so you can do the full combo. Make your opponent discard. Alright. Also playing Abyssteus, just a great card. If you have 2 water monsters, Abyssteus is just amazing. And Coral Anemone, which lets you summon monsters out of the graveyard, so gives you a bit of recursion. So yeah, that's the full competitive deck list. If you want to go max gems, full commit to the water deck. I really love this deck. I think it's really fun to play. A lot of ways to interact, and a lot of little different combos you can do. And if the game gets messy, you got some pretty powerful beat sticks in here. You got Abyss Megalo going on, so you'll be having a good time. A lot of decks have a lot of weak monsters, and Mermails you can get a 24 from the main deck. Start hitting them. All right, so that's the upgraded deck. I'm going to show you the combo with Abyssteus, and then after that, I'll do the full list breakdown with zoomed in cards. So if you missed anything or you want to read the cards, you can take a look there. Alright, well, let's get going. Alright, so I'm going to show you the combo you can do if you have Abyssteus and Dragoons in hand. So here's what you do. We're going to ignore the rest of our hand here. What you do is you discard your Dragoons to special summon your Abyssteus. Abyssteus effect is going to activate to search, and Dragoons effect is going to activate to search. Now, our Abyssteus effect to search would add a Pike to our hand, and our Dragoons effect to search would add Prince. We already had Pike in hand, so our Abyssteus couldn't search, but this is what you would add to hand. Alright, so next what you do is you normal summon your Abyss Pike, and you activate the effect, discard the Prince you added to hand, then you add a level 3. You could add Deep Sea Minstrel, or you could add a genex Undine. We got Controller in hand, so Undine's not great. We'll add a Minstrel. Prince is going to activate in graveyard and special summon your Dragoons. And what you're going to do here is you special summon Bahamut Shark. Shark Boy on the field. Activate Bahamut Shark. Detach your Dragoons. It is important to detach Dragoons. Get your Toad on field. Dragoons is going to activate, and you're going to get to add to hand, and you're going to add the Moulin Glacia. So you got 2 water monsters in graveyard. What you're going to do from here is you could special summon. Now you have 2 options. You could special summon Abyssteus, or if you want, you could special summon the Coral Anemone. Coral Anemone will let you extend a little bit further. So let's do that. Get the Coral Anemone. And from here, special summon the Moulin Glacia. Make your opponent discard 2. Now we can activate our Coral Anemone. Special summon Prince from the graveyard. Prince can activate. We can send our Dragoons and add a Heavy to hand. Or we could send our Dragoons, add our Dragoons to hand. Let's send Dragoons, add Dragoons. And with our Dragoons sent to the graveyard, we're going to search for a Abyss Megalo. You could also search for Lapis Dragon, but I think Megalo's probably the correct choice here. And what we're going to do from here is special summon the Megalo. We can use the monsters we added to hand. Special summon here. Now we're locked into waters because of the Coral Anemone, but that's okay. What we can do is add a Heavy Infantry to hand, and special summon, get the Abyssteus. It probably makes the most sense to use your Prince and your Abyssteus. And now what we have is an Omni Negate. We rip 2 cards from their hand, and on their turn, we can pop with the Abyssteus by discarding the Heavy Infantry. So we'll just go to our opponent's turn, see if they give us something to pop here. So I can show that off. Alright, opponent's summoning a monster. So let's activate Abyssteus to show off how this works. You discard. This is going to search. We add a Abyssteus to hand. And in the graveyard, Heavy is going to activate, and we can pop a face-up card. So there you go. Not bad, not bad. Now, I'll show you the full zoomed-in deck list. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or suggestions for another video. Alright, see you next time. Alright, here is the full non-budget deck list, maximally upgraded. Alright, so here is the budget deck list